Part 36. Exploring the World, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 351. Yes, she did hear the system's broadcast and knew that the poor little octopus fell into the sea, but this was still a good thing for it. It's too cold up there. You can only survive in the deep sea. And it was supposed to live in the deep sea, so it should be okay. Yes, she thought about this, then raised his head and told the news about Kraken's disappearance. Sure enough, my poor octopus baby. Poor hammer and poor, I am originally a product of the deep sea. Okay, this wave of falling into the sea is like a fish in water. Thinking about it, I think the world is really amazing. Originally a planet with no land and all seas, it turned into a planet with all land and no seas in the blink of an eye. Sure enough, anything can happen in the universe. One thing to say, I almost misunderstood what you said. So our next main mission is to go fishing for octopus in the sea? Rubbing hands excitedly. Yes, she shook his head. The octopus is originally a marine creature. It's not good for me to catch it. The temperature and energy of this planet are too weird. Now let's take a look around this frozen Gamma My4 star to see if we can find anything else. Bah, I hope I won't turn into the sea again. Yes, she looked up at the sky and saw a pale sun. The light emitted by the sun is absorbed before it reaches the land at all, and the entire planet is getting colder and colder. Yes, she found that the temperature here was dropping rapidly, and then falling at a terrifying speed. Only a few hours later, the already cold white tiger howled. Even the little Elang protested against him and wanted to continue hanging on the Kunlun sacred tree. The frost that enveloped Yeshi became more and more exaggerated, to the point where Yeshi became a natural disaster in human form. All I could see was that behind Yeshi, a tall glacier of several hundred feet formed, and something condensed into a ball of frost clung to his side. Every step forward brought with it boundless frost and snow, which looked like it was going to submerge the world. Too outrageous. It is simply a self-propelled natural disaster. Fortunately, this is on Gamma My4 star, not Blue Star. This disaster movie scared me so much that I ate 2 extra bowls of dinner. Yes, she also knew that these things were gathering more and more around him. He frowned, then let go. Make a statement. This exaggerated walking special effect has nothing to do with me. This should be the detection of unusual temperatures or particles in my area, so I need to erase this unusualness. Tisk, the temperature of the entire planet continues to drop. Even I can feel a hint of chill. Normal people should never come to this planet. It's fine if you encounter the water world, but it's extremely cold like this. Yes, she smiled and shook his head. There is no chance of getting out alive. Speaking of which, if you only use words to describe it, it may not be very impactful. So let me show you what extreme cold is. Yes, she smiled and put his hand into his pants pocket. Although the 7-day cicada kept struggling and Baihu tried his best to avoid it, he still caught the 7-day cicada. Then he took out the shrunken bronze divine vine from the upper pocket. Do you still remember that 7-day cicada that chewed a big hole in Mars and almost made the whole Mars become paralyzed? If the 7-day cicada were on this planet, then it's the 7-day cicada directly. Yes, she said, putting the hand holding it, the 7-day cicada, which was desperately holding his hand and unwilling to let go, in front of the camera and shook it, and then, snap! He threw the 7-day cicada out. There is no change at all. Compared with the terrifying background of Yeshi's disaster BGM, there is nothing exciting in 7 days cicada. An audience member before the live broadcast saw this and smiled crookedly, and then started to make a barrage for the next day. Just this, nothing seems to be okay. Unnamed, this bug is dead. Yeshi came closer, squatted down, then opened the door, nodded, and rolled the other person's non-existent eyelids. Dead. A killer weapon capable of destroying the planet died just because it was exposed to the outside of the planet. Yashi mourned for this pitiful 7-day cicada. It's such a miserable death. What crocodile tears? What kind of cat cries and mice fake mercy? Could it be that Tomcat threw the 7-day cicada out? It wasn't brother yet, it was Chiri-chan who wanted to commit suicide and jumped out. Yashi clapped his hands, then grabbed the bronze divine vine in his hand and shook it out hard. In the Fengxian village here, the thing made by the Earth Immortal has been raised well by me. It should be able to defeat an Earth Immortal. Now let's see how long it can last in this extremely cold environment. Regardless of the entanglement of the bronze divine vine, crying and pleading, Yashi directly threw the opponent away, his movements were so fast. After 10 seconds, the divine vine becomes ayahuasca. Oh, another one died. Yashi clapped his hands and his tone was quite emotional. I suggest Satan tattoo brother Ye on his arm. Half and half, if I tattoo the whole thing, I'm afraid Satan won't be able to suppress it. Oh my god, I'm a newbie, I want to ask if this live broadcast has always been like this or has it become like this now? Hey, you're focusing on the wrong thing. I want to tell you through them how much the temperature here has dropped to an exaggerated degree. This kind of planet is not suitable for life, all life to survive. At least, it's like this when it's extremely cold, but I don't know what's happening under the sea. A wonderful change happened in Yeshi's hand, as if time was flowing backwards, and as if matter was going back. Yeshi's hand returned to the state a few minutes ago. A vine in the left hand, a worm in the right hand. This god vine and the 7-day cicada had died once, and they didn't understand the situation at all. They didn't know what happened, and they appeared in the hands of this big devil again. Among them, the bronze god vine thought it was time flowing backwards or something like that. But their movements were very consistent, constantly flattering and pleasing, and they felt that Yeshi reached out again, thinking that it would be cold again, but unexpectedly, he put them both in his pocket. After surviving the disaster, these two guys became much more obedient in the future. This magical scene was naturally captured by the camera and broadcast live. Many people looked at the live broadcast room in front of them as if they were reading a fantasy novel. It turns out that it is not time that is flowing backwards, but matter that is going back. Golden Hair Quilt, Brother Ye emphasized many times that there is no time, and time does not exist at all. He even wanted to say that space does not exist, but I don't understand. I can only understand the concept that time does not exist. Wyoming, there is no time in the world. Everything you think of as time is just a change in matter. However, there is something that can turn time back. It is not matter that is going back, but real time that is flowing backwards. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 352. Xuanhuan is me, it's outrageous, why do you all know so much? I'm the only loser, right? Kicking the doorframe, you have asked this question several times, and I now solemnly answer you, yes, you are the only one, and you are the only one who is useless. Yashi put the two gadgets back into his pocket, then looked at the camera with a serious expression. So you understand. All the messages on the barrage were clear, and they looked more sincere than Yashi. After Yashi saw that so many people understood what he meant, he nodded with satisfaction. Okay, then let's continue looking ahead. If it's always been a glacier, I plan to go down and have a look. He stamped his feet, and there was a rumble on the ice. Walking from where I was just now, I felt that the thinnest part of the ice layer was more than 2,000 meters deep, and the thickest part was already more than 3,000 meters deep. Furthermore, it is very difficult to cut through this ice surface. When sub-zero temperatures come, if you don't go deep into the seabed to a depth of 2 or 3 kilometers as soon as possible, you can't expect to be able to cut through the ice and survive in the water. In case someone is homeless in a place like this, my suggestion is to build a temporary settlement on the bottom of the deep sea, and then wait until you are sure that you can leave the planet before coming out. Otherwise, there is not much chance of surviving. Although what you said is very sincere, I still want to say that we will not live in this kind of place. Kicking the doorframe, it's hard to say this 30 years to the east of Hedong, 30 years to the west of Hexi. What if you end up living on the Gamma MY4 star? It's a wonderful thing. A netizen watching the live broadcast in front of the computer turned green when he saw this barrage. He quickly typed a line of text and sent it. 30 years in Hedong and 30 years in Hexi, is that how the word is used? Yeshi just gave full play to his professional mission as an adventure anchor. As for whether netizens listen to it or not, it has nothing to do with him. So after Yeshi finished speaking, he continued to walk towards the ice and snow. The vast expanse is all white. The vast white ground fell and it was so clean. No matter which direction you go, it is all white, which makes people feel scared, not to mention that staying in the same place for a long time will have an imperceptible impact on a person's psychology. So under the extreme persuasion of some people with deep sea phobia in the barrage, Yeshi decided to go to sea. After comparing the thickness of different places, he chose the thinnest one. After selecting, he said to the camera, "This should be the thinnest part of the ice nearby. After a rough feeling, it should be about 2,000 meters. Let's go to the sea from here. If I don't want it, can I refuse to go? I'm a newcomer, I want to ask, it's not you who is going, what are you afraid of? Why are so many new people suddenly appearing in the live broadcast room, whom I have never seen before? The ice here is different from ordinary ice. It carries a trace of the power of the original body ore, and all the ice is actually a whole, including the entire planet, so it is difficult to break from the outside." Yeshi lightly stamped his foot, and countless snowflakes floated up. "Look, even I can't solve them with one kick." He looked up at the camera. "This place is really special. By the way, there is also the original body ore. You must have heard me introduce it many times. Even a top civilization will not have many of this top-notch ore. It is a real strategic resource, but in this, Gamma MY4 stars, but the number is very large. There is no way to solve them with one kick, as I said, do you need two kicks? Although this live broadcast room is very immersive, I still don't know anything about original ore, force ore, superconducting ore, biological composite ore, etc. If you don't know, you'll know how many treasures you have." Yeshi did not choose to take off his exoskeleton-powered symbiosis armor. He reached out and pulled out the sword from behind. The sword was sharp and sharp. The sword did not strike the ice. Instead, the sword pointed upward, as if pointing to the sky, which puzzled many people. However, those with smarter minds quickly realized what Yeshi was doing. The sword pointed upward and hung in the air for a few seconds. Then, everything happens in an instant. Boom! The immeasurable sea water rushed out from under the glacier with majestic power, smashing all the ice in this area. However, the sea water just reached the top of the ice, and it didn't even take a little time to pass. Condensed into frost. Yeshi was not in a hurry, he just moved the magic sword in his hand again. The sea water hung upside down and rushed towards the sky. The speed of ice formation was not as fast as the speed of the sea water rushing out. He sheathed his sword and stepped under the ice, into the water. Ka-ka-ka. All the ice instantly covered the broken area, and the sea water rising into the sky also formed icicles. Phew, we're in the water. Everyone looked at everything in front of them and were dumbfounded. Without any reaction, they came to the dark deep sea without a trace of light. Everything was swallowed up. Afterwards, Yeshi's voice came again, bringing the stunned audience back to their senses. "I found that every time I guessed Brother Yes method, I guessed wrong. Fortunately, I am not living in ancient times, otherwise I would have been stumped because of continuous mistakes. This sword is indeed a collection-level sword in the hands of old, yet it's so outrageous. Can it really control all the water? Mengpo, honey, you can't control Xuanhuan. Liuming, the ghosts in the underworld are all out to fish, right? Then wait for me to sneak into the underworld. Living king of hell, do something. Although some non-human things appeared on the barrage and made jokes, the overall atmosphere of the entire live broadcast room was still solemn. People are always afraid of darkness and yearn for light. Among the most feared things, only two words can summarize people's greatest fear, that is, the unknown. In the current live broadcast room, the unknown and alien planets and deep sea and darkness are superimposed. It is simply that all buffs have been stacked up. Even those netizens who boast that they have the courage of Lubuletin and the power of the Overlord can't stand it. Of course, among these netizens, there are not only humans from Blue Star, but basically all intelligent life forms come from civilized society, so this kind of deep-sea wilderness representing the unknown just hits their most fearful point. Yes, she did not turn on the lights, and the live broadcast room only turned on a little bit of dim light that could not be dimmed anymore, and it looked like the lights were not turned on. It was pitch black around, and people could not see anything clearly. Just at this time, Aochi! A terrifying, huge, ethereal cry exploded in their ears, live broadcast room, instantly scaring people away half of their souls. Mom, thank Brother Ye for curing my More Ocean Love certificate. I immediately changed my choice, and I will never go to Ocean University to study. What a coincidence, I fell in love with this dark and suffocating feeling, as if I was going to die in the next second. It was simply adrenaline soaring. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 353. After all, there are still a few perverts like the one above anyway. I feel that the ocean is not friendly at all. It is completely different from the last time. Maybe Atlantis helped you manage the ocean last time, so you can see the dreamy sea. Is it possible that there is someone who manages the sea here? No, no, absolutely no. Why is it you again, you crow mouth at Kraken? Can you ban him? No one is as bad as his mouth. Yes, she took out the flashlight and turned it on. Unfortunately, this time it was more than 2,000 meters into the deep sea. The flashlight could play very little role and could only illuminate less than half a meter to the side. The contrast between light and darkness can make people feel more fearful. No, I'm going to suffocate. You suffocated last time too, and you're not dead yet. The most extreme bad mouth, the most. We will spend a considerable period of time in the 2,000-meter deep sea area. I just don't know where the Kraken is. I always feel like it's running around now. Shizhung was lowering his head and swinging the camera when he suddenly felt the sea water move. A loud sound. A roaring sound came. The live broadcast room suddenly became bright, but only the thing opposite Yeshi and Yeshi. Ah! A large one looks like a seahorse, but its body is more stretched than a seahorse. It is khaki in color, and its body is covered with wrinkles and black spots. Its entire face looks like it is exploding, like a biological flower petal. And the petals were mixed with blood and minced meat, as if they had just finished eating. There is a pair of eyes inside the exploded face, and the eyes are blood red. Just meeting its gaze will fill people with fear. More than 2,000 meters deep in the sea, it was pitch black, with only a thick layer of ice above our heads. Just when everyone was making mental preparations, something like this suddenly happened, not to mention that the system was particularly difficult to adjust the focus of the lens. A big close-up, and it was lit. Many people were so frightened that their brains suddenly shut down, they rolled their eyes and fainted. The monster roared, and then suddenly opened its mouth wide, trying to swallow Yeshi in one bite. Announcement bird, this is none of my business. Can you see my ID clearly? I am not a crow's mouth. Crow mouth, can you shut up in the future? If you can't shut up, please don't lick your face and call yourself a good news bird. I really believe in your evil deeds. You have only sent a few barrages in total, but all good barrages have failed, but every bad barrage has been fulfilled immediately. Oh, God. Look what I found. This damn crow's beak is just as annoying as Uncle Ram's hat next door. I swear I can kick this suffocating crow's beak with my pointed shoes. Oh, I will kick it. Both of you crawl for me. The opponent opened his mouth and bit directly at Yeshi. At this time, he didn't know that all the gifts given by fate had already been written in secret. Ilang, who was lying in Yeshi Shang's pocket doing nothing, suddenly stretched out a tail, and then the weird thing was smashed into pulp. Yeshi blinked, then pretended that nothing happened, and continued talking to the camera. At the same time, the light that had been turned on in the live broadcast room was extinguished silently, and the live broadcast room turned into pitch black again. Yeshi's unheard tone magically came out underwater. Everyone has seen it. A strange-looking fish just tried to attack me. It seems that the bottom of the sea is not very safe, and may even be very dangerous. If by any chance you come to the deep sea, remember to pay attention to your own safety. There are records in the previous base that can still provide power that this planet has given birth to a special kind of life, right within the sea. And this kind of life, what we just saw seems to be this kind of life. Yeshi hiccuped and touched his chin. It is recorded that the native life here is very ferocious and will attack all living creatures, especially alien living creatures, and will infect living creatures. But this doesn't look too cruel. Yeshi thought for a while and then turned on the fully powered flashlight in his hand. Sure enough, after some modifications by him, the visibility of this flashlight became much greater after it was turned on. Although the surroundings were still dark, there was at least a light source, which relieved many people with deep-sea phobias and claustrophobia. No one knows how people like them can hold on to this fear and continue to watch Yeshi's live broadcast. Anyway, I would rather die from fear than close the live broadcast room. There's a big thing ahead. After Yeshi modified the flashlight and swam a few hundred meters ahead, he noticed something that was trembling on the ice, looking like it was looking for death. A big mushroom. The ecology of the seabed is quite sound. There is basically no impact below 2,000 to 3,000 meters, but all the ice has formed above. It is probably a devastating blow. Fortunately, there is no one in that base anymore, otherwise it would have turned into an ice sculpture. Yeshi shined the flashlight downwards, and the black hole swallowed up all the light. This place. It's over, I seem to have arrived at the local monster base camp. Yeshi put away the flashlight in his hand and swam to the side. However, at a glance, he noticed that this was a big thing that was dozens of times bigger than the previous one. It was probably the old one after the small one. Oh my God, where are you going, brother? Yeah, it's dangerous to run around in the deep sea. Why can't you choose to kill them all? Wyoming, because there is a den below, and the monsters are bigger the deeper they are. This is poking someone else's nest. Didn't you see it? Go back 31 seconds and look for the corresponding picture in that second. No, what I'm worried about is, what if I take action and kill all the lives born in these native places? I came to this planet to explore for the purpose of friendly communication. I am an explorer, not a massacrer. Yeshi said with a serious face, looking at the camera, but it's a pity that the audience can only hear the sound but not see the person now. The entire seawater was stirred up, and it was turbid. One after another, the giant monsters crawled out of their nests and chased after Yeshi. Yeshi ran for only a minute and a half, and then stopped. I've already said, friendly communication, friendly communication. Why are you chasing me all the time? Yeshi reached out and took out the white tiger from his trouser pocket. Okay, now it's fine. You forced a good person like me to take action. Alas, what a poor monster. After saying that, Yeshi threw the white tiger out. The moment the white tiger was thrown out, it exploded and grew larger. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 354. After Yeshizhong finished speaking, he threw a white tiger over. As for the great impact this white tiger could have on these deep-sea monsters, it was not within the scope of Yeshi's consideration. So he stopped where he was and didn't move anymore, watching the white tiger perform to his heart's content. However, in fact, the white tiger doesn't really want to eat these things. To the white tiger, these things are like smelly mice. However, Yeshi's initial movement was too lightning fast, so he subconsciously swallowed it in one gulp. Don't mention it, it was just like a human eating a fly. The white tiger really didn't want to eat mice and flies anymore, so after he grew bigger, he quietly turned his head to peek at Yeshi's expression, and breathed a sigh of relief when he found that the other party didn't pay attention to him. Then he showed a ferocious expression, making these intelligent monsters feel like they were going to die. The white tiger did not become very big. It was smaller than a hill at the beginning. Unexpectedly, after killing one of the monsters on the opposite side, there was another one, and the monsters behind it instantly became several times bigger. It also chuckled, wondering who among these garbage could be bigger than it. Remember those days? When it was on the planet of behemoths, it was almost on par with Suzaku. And now, this group of garbage that can't even compare to mice are worthy of comparing with it? While the tiger was catching the mouse, the white tiger also gradually found fun, that is, showing a shocked look in the eyes of the other mouse, watching it getting bigger and bigger. The back was simply bigger than a mountain, and Levi behind it 10 is still emerging. Yeshi squatted behind Baihu and started eating melon seeds. He was slightly speechless. I just killed a small monster. As for the whole lair, it's a bit too much. The Titans are not as cruel as you. After saying this, he looked at the camera in the live broadcast room and complained. Did you see that this time it's not my problem, it was the other party who wanted to take action against me, and then I took action against them. I just want to explore a planet. I have no intention of exterminating any race on this planet. I'm about etiquette. After speaking, Yeshi looked at the barrage posted by netizens in the live broadcast room and nodded with satisfaction, then looked back at the completely transformed white tiger, frowning. Can you hurry up and kill Leviathan so slowly? Kill them all, and let it swallow up the nest as well. The state of etiquette. The white tiger's face turned green when he heard Yeshi's words. He didn't want to swallow these dirty, smelly mice at all. But there is no way, who told Yeshi to say these things? So the white tiger took out his grievances on these leviathans. The body suddenly turned into a prototype, and he almost sent Yeshi out. When he finally saw Yeshi with a dark face, Baihu quickly put his butt away, and then rushed towards the monster lair in front. Boom! The white tiger swallowed the seawater, stones, and various other things together. The tiger's claws slapped painfully into the water, directly smashing a leviathan that was chasing Yeshi into pieces. Oh, it's too violent. Yeshi simply couldn't stand it anymore. If you hadn't been chasing me, how could I be so violent? I'm a good person through and through. Uncomfortable. Even the sea water has become smelly. Yeshi pinched his nose and spoke with a look of regret on his face. Thank you, good man. Redefining good people. We are not here to exterminate the clan, but these monsters dare to fight back, then exterminate the clan. Oh, my poor Leviathan. I actually chased them to the lair on the bottom of the sea and ate them all. This white tiger has such a good appetite, I felt sick just looking at it. Anonymous, is it possible that Baihu has the same thoughts as you and feels disgusting? What the hell is this thing, why does it look like this? I suggest you kill them all. Yashi didn't want to continue the live broadcast here. Although the sea water around him was very clear, the turbidity still made him sick. So Yashi didn't care about Baihu anymore, but rushed out first and landed on the ice again. Who knows? As soon as the ice surface broke open, all the frost spread towards the ocean. The white tiger and leviathan who were fighting were directly affected. Ice sculptures appeared one after another in the sea at the same time. Those leviathans' life moments it became invisible. Yashi frowned when he saw it, then pulled the white tiger out, used the King Ian sword to clean the white tiger that had been frozen into an ice sculpture, then unfrozen it, and cleaned it again. The white tiger was shivering from the cold but did not dare to move. After Yashi finally washed the white tiger clean, he asked the other party to follow him and threw it into his pocket without continuing. However, under the frost, he still paid great attention to the physical and mental health of his pet, so he clicked a little and put a protective shield on the white tiger's body. Oh, this planet is indeed very dangerous. Yashi looked up at the blue sky and said this. I admit that this planet is dangerous, I admit it quite seriously. No matter who it is, I will not think that this place is not dangerous, but you can forget it. Kick the doorframe. Sometimes I think that it may be that Brother Ye is too human that he sighed like this, so everyone should follow Brother Ye's example. That's really impossible. After all, I was shocked when I arrived at the scene. Oh no, I overestimated myself, I simply couldn't get to the scene. Not only is the sea not calm, but it is also not calm under the sea. Although this is the case, as a qualified explorer, we can't retreat when faced with difficulties. So, let's go to the sea in another place. Retreat when faced with difficulties. What's the difficulty? Kick the doorframe. Maybe Brother Ye is thinking about the problem from the perspective of the native residents of this planet as expected. What great gods and immortals, only such existence can think about other lives in this way. Let's be honest, if you didn't say this, I would think you were being sarcastic. Yashi stroked the big cat, and then the big cat and the man strolled on this completely unfamiliar planet Gamma MY4. This scene. It is easy to recall some scenes from science fiction works, such as A Person on Mars, A Blue Planet Exploding, The Last of Humanity, etc. It is extremely lonely and sad. Especially the background of a person with the vast snow, which should add a touch of loneliness. But it should be a very lonely and desolate scene, but at this time it is full of laughter and has a strong comedy effect. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yu Pian Hai. Chapter 355. Guess what race will be the next one to die? Can you raise the stakes for guessing fish? If you want to play, can't you play it bigger? What do you think? Too much, what do you think? You actually made such a bet. Do you look down on Yeshen? I bet that after Brother Ye leaves this planet, the planet will explode. Tomcat, that makes sense. You are right. Living king of hell, indeed, our underworld is flooded. What are you still thinking? Do you think you can survive? The one above the underworld seems to be dead, too. It's an experimental petri dish. Laughing to death. Oh, Brother Bai, I didn't call you here, don't get me wrong. Yashi was really angry when he saw these people slander. This is pure rumor. Pure slander. Pure slander. He still thinks it's more interesting to have more life in the universe, so how can he explode wherever he goes? He is just an ordinary explorer. Please don't slander me like that, those planets are just accidents, this planet will never explode. This planet is very special. Yashi said to the camera with a dark face. Living king of hell, alas, Yezianren, you are obsessed with what you said. Isn't our underworld special enough? How can you hold a grudge against a ghost? Living king of hell, call the lord of the mansion. Nameless, dead ghost crawling. This planet is really special. I was originally planning to go into the water nearby, but I don't know where I walked, and I actually saw a mountain. Look ahead. Yashi pointed to a place in the vast glacier and pointed to the camera. Everyone looked at the sea and sky, the world with only ice, and every place looked exactly the same and fell into deep thought. Kinlibyuxing, ah, I saw it, I saw that mountain. Ranyun is me, I saw it too, it's so magical, so magical. A big pigeon, it's strange, why can't I see it? Ranyun is me, maybe you are a mortal, only mortals can't see it, look, there is such a big mountain in front of you. It's so magical. Yang Xuanhuan. Yashi was really impressed by these old Sixs, such a righteous emperor's new clothes, oh no, the mountain of Gamma My 4 stars, really fooling people like fools, right? What I never expected was that this kind of fooling was taken seriously by many people, and the lives of different worlds raised a question, that is, whether they are mortals or not, there is no doubt. How can you be a mortal on the internet? I must not be a mortal. So a funny beginning has an outrageous process. As for Yashi, he was too lazy to watch these people perform, but went to the mountain. The mountain was completely covered with frost, but there was still a corner hanging outside, and there seemed to be something hanging on it, which should not be a living organism. Yashi sensed from a distance that there was abundant energy in the mountain, and the feeling this energy gave him was very similar to that of a kind of ore. I didn't expect to have such luck. When luck comes, it can't be stopped. I actually found a mine, and it's actually a mine of top or original ore. I don't know how many interesting things can be made if I give it to that Tiangong. And this kind of ore is absolutely indispensable for the leap of civilization. I can bring some back to Blue Star when the time comes. Just as Yashi was thinking this in his heart, he was very close to the mountain and came to the bottom of the mine. Only a few hundred meters away from climbing. From a close distance, it is very obvious that this mountain is different. Originally, since the Gamma My 4 star descended below zero, the thickness of the ice layer in all places was counted in kilometers and hundreds of meters. But now, the frost covering this mine is less than 3 meters thick, and it is not ice, but soft snow. Yashi picked up a handful of snow and felt it. In such a short time, the snow was affected by the ore underneath and underwent a special change, becoming more powerful and more nourishing than those elixirs. If a mortal eats the snow, he will become a master in an instant, and it can also cleanse his bones and marrow. When such an ancient word appeared, Yashi was stunned for a moment. Now he doesn't want to move the original ore out, he wants to move this mountain directly into his own world, which must feel very beautiful. What is the origin of this mountain, is it so scary? This mountain gives me a feeling that it is very hot. You said something nonsense. Hey, do you think there are people living in this mountain? After all, this place seems to be suitable for survival, compared to other places. I think it is very likely maybe the aliens in the base that Brother Yes saw at the beginning hid in this mountain who wants to live in the sea when there is land. I am an Atlantean. I am a fish. Well, just ignore what I said. Yashi looked at it and found that there was no place to climb on this mountain, at least not above the sea. We may have to prepare to go to the sea in the end. The entrance to this mountain should be under the sea. I don't know what's going on, is it a big funnel? Yashi thought for a moment and pushed aside the ice layer beside him, then jumped into the water. Hoo. As soon as he entered the water, all the netizens who watched the live broadcast felt a strong panting sound, as if it was right next to everyone's ears, which scared people. Yashi looked down. There is a huge monster sleeping below. The breathing sound came from the other party's body. But don't worry. That's right. The ice layer here is too thin. If I end up on this planet, I must find this place, otherwise I will definitely not survive. Be optimistic, you should not have realized that you would not be able to survive before this incident. Who knows what's going on with this planet? It's so weird, it has directly changed from a pure ocean planet to an ice world. Who can stop it? Don't you see how terrible this frost is? I can't even compare to a strand of silk of the 7-day cicada. At least they can destroy the world, and I can only be destroyed by the world. That's right, then I'll just commit suicide. 6. You are actually seriously considering this matter. The sea here is very warm, like a hot spring, so many different kinds of fish and plants grow here. Just this area, it feels a bit like the last time I went to the bottom of the sea. Yeah, she swam forward, trying to find the entrance to the mountain. The entrance was not hidden in a very deep place, so it was found as soon as it was found. However, after finding the entrance, yes, she did not go in immediately, but looked at everything in front of him with shock. His pupils shrank sharply, as if he saw some incredible scene. This is. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 356. Yes, she was shocked, not only by the picture he saw in front of him, but also by the report given to him by the system. Ding, congratulations to the host for improving the exploration of the Gamma MY4 star map by 35%, and the overall progress is now 70%. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the second puzzle of Gamma MY4 star. The reward is 10 points of merit, a good harvest X1, hanging jade X5, original body or X20 secret, superconducting or X50 secret, Gamma MY4 star map illustration, mountain god, earth god, red Xuanhuan, the original body vein. Gamma MY4 star illustrated book, mountain god, earth god, Xiao mountain, original mineral veins. Mountain god, are you shocked? I'm shocked too. In this place where the only 5-color altar is empty, the orthodox mountain gods and earth gods of heaven can appear? This is really unbelievable even in the universe. One thing. This mountain god is not the mountain god of Xiao mountain. He just stayed in this mountain because he was too weak. It is no longer clear which mountain he originally came from. His mountain god authority has completely collapsed. Strictly speaking, he is no longer a mountain god and is already dead. Tu Gong, I know you are shocked, but don't be shocked first, because you will be even more shocked later. Yes, as we all know, you are facing a Tu Gong, and he is a Tu Gong who has been canonized by heaven. He can be immortalized in the world. His name was found on the book, but as we all know, Gamma MY4 planet has no land, so he is also attached to Xiao mountain. His consciousness is still alive and he can communicate. His condition is much better than that of the other mountain gods. Xiao mountain, if heaven was still there, this mountain would have been guarded by heavenly soldiers and generals, because the ores here are so precious that even heaven would regard them as treasures. This entire mountain would be almost all of them are otherworldly original body ores, which can supply 10 civilizations to enter the extraordinary Star Sea civilization and still leave more than half of them. This is our luck and your wealth. Because you, the host, want to move the entire mountain away. I only took 20 meters. Please be careful. Once this mountain is moved, it will cause immeasurable impact. Prim Arch Mineral Vein, this is an incredible planet, a planet filled with the aura of wealth that can be counted in the entire star sea. The aura of the prime body mineral vein is really wonderful, not to mention that it can generate its own energy. Fortune, the things that are spread out from the mountain gods and earthly gods, as the name suggests, increase their merits. Unfortunately, these two are too poor. Note, the merits I captured from them did not accumulate them, this it's slander. A good harvest, a blessing from the mountain god, wishing a good harvest. Xuanhuan, a kind of spiritual material from heaven. Among the acquired spiritual materials, it is already one of the best. The voice of the system slowly told what happened in front of him, and the picture in front of Yeshi was also displayed in front of everyone. This is an island floating in the sea. There are rugged rocks at the bottom. There is also a piece of sea mud floating on it. The mud is connected to the mountain. On the soil is a small stone shrine. Inside the shrine is a man with a gray beard. Old man. The most surprising thing is that in front of the shrine, there are the tributes that have just been presented. Edit the landlord. I really didn't expect that I would see the earth god here that I have never been able to find. When Lao Ye broadcast Nantianmen and even as early as Mars, I had doubts about why there were only ruins in heaven but no real existence. It seemed to be within reach and yet out of reach. But now, what is Tudagong? Why is Yeshen so surprised? What's so surprising? You will look like an alien at first glance. Oh, it may not be a human being. You can search online and you will know what it is. In short, this is really shocking and unimaginable. Who would have thought that we would see the Lord of the land here, in this landless place with no land at all? So, why is the land master here? There are even fresh melons and fruits in front of his shrine. This damn thing has gone to hell, right? Yeshi's heart was racing, not to mention the audience, whose eyes were about to fall out of shock. But soon, Yeshi returned to his normal appearance. He sighed deeply. Yes, this is indeed the Lord of the land. And he is the Tudagong we thought was the Tudagong who was canonized by heaven. Now there are still people worshipping him. Yeshi said these words slowly. The barrage was already very explosive before, and now it is even more explosive. The human eye can no longer keep up with the refresh speed. If it hadn't been for the live broadcast room a long time ago, if there is a slow play barrage function, it is estimated that no one will know what the barrage is. Call. Yeshi took a deep breath and then exhaled before heading towards the bottom of Chixiao Mountain. Moving on the duckweed, Yeshi felt that a brand new world was coming towards him, and I am afraid that he could get a glimpse of the real heaven here. Although this floating soil is soaked in sea water, there is no water on it. Instead, it is very dry, as if it is about to crack. As for the sacrifices offered, such as fruits and rice, they were all in a semi-dry state, and the rice was not even steamed. Yeshi looked at these and realized in his heart that this land should be what the land under the jurisdiction of this land official looks like now, but now, it is reflected here. He felt a little regretful at first, and then immediately realized. The harvest will be plentiful, the harvest will be plentiful. So, despite this severe drought, we still maintained a good harvest. At this time, it was quite close to the floating soil. Yeshi did not choose to move forward, but took a step back. Land god! He shouted. No one answered. The land god sitting in the shrine had kind eyes, gray hair and beard, and still had a strong breath of life, but he did not answer Yeshi's question. Yeshi thought about it, and did not move forward. Instead, he bowed his hands and went up the Chixiao mountain along the edge. Finally, he landed on the land from the sea. The white tiger shook his body hurriedly. It didn't like the sea at all, it didn't like it very much. As for Yeshi, it was indeed more accustomed to the land. The mountain was fluorescent, and he planned to walk around here first to see if he could find the mountain god who was nominally dead, and then save him. Just leave like this? Don't shout more? Not so good, maybe he has something to do, so he didn't respond. If he doesn't respond, it will be annoying if he keeps shouting. Tudagong, I don't know why, in mythology, besides the Monkey King, I like Tudagong the most. The Monkey King may have fallen into the 18 levels of hell, but didn't he become a Buddha? Isn't it not just the heaven, but also the West heaven that has serious problems? Who knows? Let's see what Brother Ye will say later. I have a feeling that Brother Ye should know something. Remove should / Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 357. Yes, she did intend to say something, but he was not prepared to expose the secrets of the world in front of others, which was too immoral. So yes, she walked a distance into Xiao mountain before he slowly spoke. The one just now was indeed the god of land. But his condition is not very good. As everyone knows, there is no land on the Gamma My4 star. The god of land must rely on the land to survive, otherwise he will gradually weaken. Now this god of land is already very weak. But this is not the worst, because there are more than just god of land here. There were still various discussions going on in the barrage, but now they all stopped discussing and looked at Yeshi with expectation. Some people understood something in an instant after being shocked. Those who were smart and could draw inferences immediately opened the search engine and typed in the word mountain god. Mountain god. Golden hair shell, could it be the mountain god? Golden retriever, it's really the mountain god. Tomcat, how come there are so many gods who hold positions in heaven in this ghost place? Damn, something big is going to happen. Kick the doorframe, nonsense, the earth god did not stay in his own land, but appeared in the deep sea. Isn't this weird enough? Isn't this big enough? Speaking of this, have you ever thought about why this Gamma My4 star is so weird? Is it because the hostile forces of heaven probably imprisoned these two gods with important positions here? Yes, she saw the barrage posted by this netizen. I just want to say that the imagination is very big and the guessing angle is also interesting, but unfortunately it is not. Because the value of Gamma My4 star is too high, to be frank, it is higher than the value of this earth god and the mountain god combined, especially the original body or inside. This planet is simply a walking wealth-making machine, a civilization booster, and an elixir of individual strength. No matter which force sees it, they will drool. This precious planet is used as a prison. This is not a waste of natural resources, so it is absolutely impossible. Is it a mistake? When Yeshi thought of this guess, he wanted to pull out the system and beat it up. This time, he introduced so much, but there were few important points, so he couldn't be sure what happened. Yeshi walked inside the dry original ore, walked forward, and explained while looking at the camera. When I looked at the bottom of this mountain, I found that there was a mountain god in this mountain. This mountain god is different from the land god. It can't be described as weak. It can be said that it is in a state of sudden death, and it has been a long time since it was suddenly killed. You can see that the land god needs to make land here, and the shrine must fall on the land. It can be seen that the requirements of the gods in the heaven are very strict. So this mountain god is because his own mountain is gone. In order to survive, he tried the Xiao mountain of Gamma My4 star. It's a pity that the mountain god actually failed to integrate into the mountain, or in other words, the integration failed. Because you should all be able to see it, right? This mountain is native to the Gamma My4 star, and is incompatible with the life on the outside world. They have their own life code, which rejects the life on other planets. Of course, the reason why Xiao mountain rejects the mountain god is not because of this, but because this is a mine cave. For some reason, this mountain god would make such a choice. They should be able to see the specialness of Xiao mountain and the specialness of the ore inside. This ore is all over Xiao mountain. Even if the mountain god of Kunlun comes, there is no such ore. Yeshi emphasized it again. The interior of this mountain is particularly beautiful with fluorescent dots, but under all the beauty, it is actually full of a strong danger. The top things, no matter what they are very dangerous, even if it is an ore. Yeshi can only be thankful, regrettable, that the mine cave here is not a vein of biological composite ore. Otherwise it is estimated that a legendary holy stone man will really come out, and it will definitely be more terrifying than that. Still haven't seen the mountain god. Did it merge with the whole mountain? That shouldn't be the case. The deeper you go, the more you can feel the heavy pressure on everyone. There is no lack of light here. Instead, the light is getting brighter and brighter, so bright that it can almost blind everyone's eyes. Could it be that too much original body ore was used, and then it merged with the aura of the entire mine cave and can't be distinguished at all? When this thought flashed through Yeshi's mind, he knew that his guess must be right. Not only did the mountain god use a lot of original body ore, but the land god did too. So, Yeshi finally found the mountain god whose priesthood the system said had collapsed and died. The other party's appearance was really not good. The cameras showed the scene inside at a glance. Not only Yeshi saw it, but everyone saw it too. In front of him was a half-stone, half-human existence. From below his eyes, all his places changed into the appearance of pseudo-original body ore, and his eyes were closed heavily, and his brain had not been completely covered. Yeshi looked at the scene in front of him and felt that what he was about to do was really difficult. Because this mountain god's body has been connected to Chixiao mountain, perhaps it can be said that he has become a piece of ore. When Yeshi told the news, the barrage suddenly went silent, and then there was mourning. I don't know which mountain god this mountain god is. I have never heard of the name, alas. Actually, I have always believed that mountains and rivers have spirits. Now when we really see the spirit, this spirit has reached a dead end. The earth god doesn't know what's going on, he really wants to save them all. Anonymous, it's difficult. The existence in front of me is actually dead a long time ago. It's just that his body has been turned into this special ore and is indirectly connected to the entire mountain, so he still has a little life, but it's actually hopeless. Isn't it possible to go back materially? Tomcat. Do you know how much strength this requires? This is impossible. This is not an ordinary place. Don't even think about material regression in this place. This is the stupidest behavior. This is the original body ore. This is seeking death. Yeshi looked at the mountain god whose eyes were not petrified and sighed. There are very few things in this world that he cannot do, but there is one thing in front of him. Is it true that, as Tomcat said, the inner material of such a huge and incredible original body ore can be traced back? He said it bluntly, even Zhang Baron would be dumbfounded when he came. However, there is actually nothing we can do about it. Yeshi clicked his finger and thought of one thing, his authority as a god. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Wo Yi Pian Hai. Chapter 358. If you use normal methods, it is obvious that there is no way to save the mountain god in front of you. However, Yeshi has an abnormal method here, which is to use the power of God to forcibly convert yin and yang. Because he himself has the power of the creator and the power of fantasy. So, theoretically, there is no problem. Yeshi is hesitant because the mountain god is within the system of the heavenly court. As for the heavenly court, Yeshi doesn't know how many times he has heard the news that the heavenly court wants to surround and kill the gods, so naturally, the gods and the heavenly court should be in opposition. So, isn't the problem here? Using the power of God on a mountain god appointed by the heavenly court, Yeshi is worried that his people have not been saved yet, but it is even more serious. But after speculating, although it may not be effective, the impact of the counter effect is not as great as he imagined. Besides, it is a very painful thing to be connected with the mountain of the original ore. It is comparable to climbing a mountain of knives and jumping into a boiling pot of oil. I wonder if it can compete with the punishment in hell. Anyway, this mountain god is really in pain and wishes he could die. Yeshi sensed the other party's emotions and sighed, then looked at the camera and said, I have a way, maybe I can try it. But it may not succeed, because the meanings of the authority used by the heavenly court and me are mutually exclusive. After Yeshi finished speaking, he stretched out a finger, and the finger emitted a little glow, gradually becoming transparent, and then changed from transparent color to colorful color, and then from colorful to dreamy color. Everyone looked at this finger, looked at this dreamy color, as if they saw everything that only existed in imagination appearing in it, and everything in the dream would be materialized wherever the finger touched. It was simply the feeling of a husband and wife in the second dimension becoming real people. Causing everyone's attention to be attracted by Yeshi's hand, forgetting that there was a poor mountain god waiting to be saved. I am God, this authority. Tomcat, I didn't expect that the little sea god's true form would be a colorful bubble, ha 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 ha. Living king of hell, I've been used to not being a human for a long time, but I still can't accept seeing such a direct not being a human. What do you mean, is this the true form of Yeshen? Who knows, I didn't see it, it was the big guys talking. There is a barrage ID that is very eye-catching, I won't say who it is, everyone knows if they understand. I am God. Yeshi materialized the dream authority in his hand, and didn't pay attention to what was said in the barrage, but pointed his finger at the mountain god's brow, and a trace of dreamy waves seemed to swing out and hit the original ore. These ores shook for a while, but saw the mountain god with a human head and a snake body tremble slightly, and then the stones on it seemed to fade and faded from its body. When there was another sound like a bell ringing. Yeshi felt that the mountain god was slowly separating from the original ore, but he was not relieved. After all, the mountain god was able to survive only because of the original ore. Now that the life-extending thing was removed, whether he could continue to live was still a matter of two fingers. Luckily, there was nothing much in Yeshi's world, but there were many mountains. So after the body above the waist was normal, Yeshi directly took out a compressed mountain, and then moved in front of the mountain god, allowing the mountain god to continuously separate from the original ore while merging his body with the mountain. It should be fine. Yeshi looked at its purple tail, raised his eyebrows, took his hand back, and then smashed the whole mountain on it. If it was a normal person, the mountain would die once it fell, but if it was thrown to the mountain god, not only would it not die, but the other party's life breath would become stronger and stronger. Yeshi nodded with satisfaction after seeing these changes. Okay. It seems that this method is indeed feasible. He held the shrunken mountain in his hand. Now let's go see if the earth god outside has returned. If he comes back, we can let them meet each other. So considerate, really I'm not being sarcastic, but I think sometimes brother Yet is too human, I even forget that he is not a fish. Yeshen OS, you think you said it very well, right? Sincerity is a killer move, you have mastered this trick. The mountain god was saved, it's really great, really, I didn't expect that he could be saved from such a deadly situation. Wyoming, it's saved, but it's hard to say whether the mountain god in heaven will be grateful. You can shut up if you don't know how to talk, you are talking too much, right? Yeshi walked outside with the shrunken mountain. He counted his abundant knowledge of legends, but he didn't figure out which mountain this mountain belonged to. I've never heard of such a mountain god. Tongzi. Ding, the other party's priesthood has collapsed, and strictly speaking, it is not a mountain god. As for which mountain it is, after checking reliable information, it should have come here before taking office and then sent it. I never expected this answer. Yeshi shrugged his shoulders, quite speechless about this answer. However, the sky outside was getting brighter, the smell of seawater was very strong. And there was a strong smell of fish. Yeshi once again stood at the pass of Chixiao mountain, he looked at the shrine on the floating soil. And this time, he happened to look at the old man with grey beard sitting in the shrine. The two looked at each other. And they both seemed very puzzled. The land god opposite was first overjoyed, then shocked, and then suspicious and hesitant. And his eyes changed so quickly. Yeshi blinked, stretched out his hand, and lifted up the mountain that merged with the mountain god. And the land god's face changed drastically. To be honest, this picture looks weird. What do you want to do if both of them are silent? I'll say something too, It feels like I'm threatening the god of land, ha 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 ha. Looking at the other party's doubtful eyes, Yeshi laughed, then threw the mountain in his hand over, and said loudly. When I was walking in the mountain, I saw the trapped mountain god, so I thought of a way to rescue it. You are the god of land, and it is the mountain god. How can it be such a coincidence? You should know each other, right? The god of land looked at the mountain thrown at him, and subconsciously came out of the shrine. After coming out, he was shocked and very scared. But when he saw that Yeshi didn't do anything, he was relieved. Who are you? Fairy? God? Human? To be honest. Faced with this question, Yeshi was really embarrassed to say that he was both. So. He nodded and said. Yes, I am both. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 359. When these words came out, not only the landowner in front of him was stunned, but even the viewers watching the live broadcast couldn't help but twitch the corners of their eyes. The bold ones among them wanted to refute Yeshi's words. But I found that there was no way to refute it, because what Yeshi said was right. Tomcat, please don't raise your standard of being a human being, thank you. In the end, it was Tomcat who joined in the fun and ran out and posted such a barrage, which made the shocked and somewhat silent live broadcast room lively again. The Earth God was only half the height of Yeshi. He held the mountain in his arms and checked but found nothing unusual. Even so, he did not let down his guard. Because of this damn place. Not to mention the gods, there are not even ghosts, only those monsters from the deep sea. These monsters not only possess wisdom but also great power. If he had not found Chixiao Mountain, he would definitely die here. Not only are monsters very special. Even the entire planet has an indescribable weird feeling, which makes him, a landowner, feel uncomfortable every time. This is the land of demons and heretics. He was so convinced. Thinking of this, a trace of sadness flashed in his eyes, because heaven no longer exists. In the past, let alone a land prince who disappeared for tens of thousands of years, even if he disappeared for a year, heaven would be furious and find out everything. But now, he waited for a long time, but did not wait for the heaven to catch him. He went from being full of expectations to being depressed, and then to despair. If the sacred stone in this mountain had not been so magical that he could create a shrine that could communicate with his land, he would not be able to survive long ago. The reason why he is still alive now is because he still has the priesthood in him. He needs to ensure that the land under his jurisdiction will have abundant crops and live in peace and contentment. So, what exactly is this existence in front of me? Why was he able to save the mountain god from it? In addition to being filled with immortal energy, he also had a sense of God's authority. He carefully looked at the young man in front of him. The appearance is that of a human being, but here, Tu Gong is having the most important thinking in tens of thousands of years. There. Yeshi was also thinking about how to communicate with the Earth God. He thought about it and found that no matter how he communicated, he seemed to have a very strange feeling. Maybe it was because he was a little bit embarrassed to face this existence that was familiar to people in the Dragon Kingdom and was a household name. Then, Yeshi decided how to communicate with the other party. He raised his head and glanced at the thin ice surface, and decided to let this person who had appeared on the Earth Park of Gamma My4 star for an unknown period of time go online. After reading all the news and information on the internet, you will naturally know what happened, and you don't have to explain it in words. Tongzi, give me a network cable. Also, get some of the latest computers that can access the internet. Ding, Gamma My4 star is so special, especially after the arrival of Sub-Zero, all technological products are almost useless, but who asked us to gather here? The quantum network cable has been connected, and the Empire's latest quantum computer has just been brought. Yashi nodded and asked abruptly. Where did it come from? What Empire? The system suddenly got stuck, but it responded quickly. Ding, there are countless empires in the world, I got it from Tomcat. Yashi pondered for a moment. Whoring for nothing. Ding, yes, host. Yashi couldn't help laughing, and then handed the thing in his hand to Tagong. I know you're confused, and so am I. But if I communicate with you like this now, there will be communication barriers, so you should go online first and see what happened recently. He handed the quantum computer to the other party and continued. By the way, are you the landowner of that place? The Earth God curiously took the thing handed over by Yashi, opened it and replied. Dongsheng Shenzhou, Yuchen Kingdom, Zishan Town. Yashi. His hand paused, but he still handed the thing into the hands of the Earth God. Aaleguo, Dongsheng Shenzhou, finally appeared in this live broadcast room for the first time. And it was the landowner who said it, it's so annoying. Is Dongsheng Shenzhou a blue star? But it's wrong. I remember that a big shot of that worldview drew a very clear and intuitive picture. The center of the picture was Mount Sumeru, or Buzaoshan, or Kunlun Mountain. Good guy, you've hit 3 myths at once. What kind of myths are you making? Yang Xuanhuan, in fact, when I was studying the history of Blue Star, I discovered a lot of prehistoric information. However, these information were very dangerous and you couldn't even get close. However, it got better later and there are records in it. But isn't Dongsheng Shenzhou a description in Buddhism? If you are curious about religion, you can go and take a look. Different religions have great similarities in how they describe the world. This is not a Buddhist description, but a description of that world. Unnamed, Dongsheng Shenzhou, such a distant place name, but unfortunately you probably can't see it now. Gong successfully accessed the internet. Yashi also breathed a sigh of relief, and then began to think about what he meant by Dongsheng Shenzhou. Dongsheng Shenzhou. I didn't expect that I could not only achieve financial freedom in this corner, but also meet the God of Land, and even get news about Dongsheng Shenzhou. This trip was really not in vain. Time passed quickly. The God of Land was addicted to the internet. And netizens didn't know what Yashi handed over at first, and thought it was a symbol of identity. It was not until the end that they saw the God of Land running around in the internet of 10 worlds that they knew what happened. It's a bit outrageous. A netizen who was typing on the keyboard was answering the questions of an old man who had just been online for a short time with a strange expression on his face. This old man was the God of Land. So, the craze on the internet can be imagined, and it was so lively that the God of Land himself complained to Yashi. But after being baptized by the internet, he already understood why Yashi said that before. I'm afraid that at that time, the two people would fight after a few words of communication. The God of Land thought for a moment and realized that he could not beat Yashi in front of him, because he, alas. So he is both a human, a god, and an immortal. Such an existence, even if it is in heaven, even if it is in heaven. Well, the God of Land did not know if there is such an existence in heaven. Have you finished reading? We can communicate now. Yashi sat on the white tiger and said to the God of Land who was addicted to the internet. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 360. After hearing this, the Lord of the Land put down the internet in his hands and sat upright. He was sure that the person in front of him was no longer the enemy of heaven and himself. Immortal, what do you want to ask me? Yashi thought for a while. Actually, I don't have anything to ask. Just tell me about your experience. Yashi actually didn't know what to ask, but after saying this, he realized that this was the best way to ask. The landlord nodded. There is nothing to say about the little old man. I have always been just the most ordinary little land in Dongsheng Shenzhou. I have heard of what you brought out, immortal, before in Dongsheng Divine Continent. Yeshi wasn't very surprised when he heard this, because technology certainly didn't develop in the past few hundred years. However, many people in the live broadcast room expressed their shock. Then he was criticized for being such an idiot. How could anyone think that the technology on Dongsheng Shenzhou, which has been developed for countless thousands of years, is not as good as today's technology? Isn't that right? Tomcat, I found something missing from my warehouse, damn it, don't let me know which bastard stole something from me, it must be those bastards. I'm leaving first, I must settle the accounts with them. Yes, not to mention the distance, the interstellar civilization outside has been around for hundreds of thousands or millions of years, you understand, don't say much. Oh, are they also played in heaven? The landowner shook his head. No, let alone heavenly court, even in Dongsheng Divine Continent, these have disappeared. After the earth god said this, he seemed to have thought of something and immediately overturned his previous words. No, it's probably not the case. It's because the skills have become more refined, so that the little old man can't tell the difference at all. Now that I think about it, I saw something similar appearing in the land under my jurisdiction a long time ago. Wait a minute, tell me your experience first. Yeshi couldn't stand seeing this earthly man talking nonsense. He really didn't care at all about the level of science and technology in heaven. It didn't matter, because the level of cultivation in heaven was definitely higher. After your death, you were canonized by the heavenly court to the Lord of the earth. What did you go through to get here? I am the earth spirit of heaven and earth, a creature born naturally from that land. After I gradually developed wisdom, I began to help the mortals and other races in the world, so that they can live on this land better off. In this way, about 800 years later, an immortal official came from heaven, gave me a name, determined the shape of the shrine, and asked me to record my name in a book. After that, I was the king of that land. The land is open to the public. This is meritorious deeds. I thought this old man was very kind from the beginning. Wow, he is indeed a good landowner. Good God has a safe life. After that, for a long time, I have been protecting that land for good weather and good weather as before. Unfortunately, severe droughts, floods, locusts, and ice disasters always come every once in a while. Even if I try my best to protect them, there is nothing I can do. What to protect? So I have seen the death and rebirth of many lives. Sometimes, heaven will send immortal officials to give rewards. I can't remember how long this period was. The Tagong, who had a gray beard and was only half a man tall, looked into Yeshi's eyes and said this. As for what's behind, there should be something big happening in heaven. I once heard a bird flying from the north say that the 4 continents were in chaos and the war was going on. Even the Lingshan mountain in the west was shorter. Many monsters and Buddhas died in Nanbuzhu, as well as immortals and humans. Later, something happened even in heaven. The world is getting worse day by day, the weather is getting worse, the wars on the ground are continuous, the mountain gods and city gods are gradually dying, and the earth gods are also beginning to die, but none of this has attracted the attention of heaven. The situation in heaven is worse than we thought. But then, the world on the verge of collapse suddenly received help from heaven, and the world returned to normal in an instant. Although the following days were very difficult to maintain, they were much better than the previous days. After that, a terrible snowstorm fell from heaven to the world, and when I woke up again, I found myself floating on the sea, without roots or origins. It's this place. People who came here with me include mountain gods and some mortals. It's a pity that these mortals are being hunted. The mountain god and I have no way to save these mortals in this place. The lives in this place are very evil and chaotic, especially they are paranoid about chasing mortals. There are too many of these lives. I and the mountain gods together can't defeat us, but fortunately they don't kill us like they are chasing mortals. Originally, the mountain god and I were trying to find a way to leave this place and return to Dongsheng Divine Continent. Unfortunately, we almost died in a horrific disaster. There was a hint of fear and sadness in the landman's eyes. Yes, she added something for the other party. Tides below zero. This is a very special mechanism on this planet. After I came to this planet, I met him. This temperature is very terrifying. It is not just a simple low temperature, but a disaster that covers the entire planet from the rule level. For almost 100% of life, the only chance to survive is to go under the deep sea ice. There is no rule for the time of occurrence. It may come in the next second, or it may come after tens of thousands of years. It depends on luck, not rules. And when I entered this planet, I didn't even notice this. It was only after the frost came that I observed and found out. Yes, she said all the information he knew. Although the barrage had known about the horror of this temperature before, when he mentioned the irregularity, many people suddenly had a toothache. Isn't this a world that depends purely on luck? I guess I'm a non-African as soon as I arrive at Gamma MY4. I'm so unlucky that even good luck can't save me. Me too. In this way, isn't old Ye also a non-African? Tomcat, I have to hit you here. After the little sea god finds out that he is a non-African, he can change his fate with Krypton. Can you? Didn't you go to cause trouble for others? Why are you back? And, what does it mean to change fate by paying with money? I've only heard of changing fate by paying with money. Oh no, it's not true, but it's not true paying with money can change fate. Tomcat, thanks for the invitation. My clone has gone. Paying with money can change fate. PM me and I'll give you the link then. Changing fate by paying with money means changing someone else's fate by paying with money. Funny, others, I didn't mess with anyone.